Hey everyone, we're in a different environment today. We're here with Sean playing with his Camaro. We're at Chris's house, and in case you didn't know, Sean is Chris's brother. And Chris is going up north, but we're going to work on pulling the motor out of this. Figure I'd cover this one a little bit because this one's tied into the Trans Am a little bit that I sold to Chris. So Sean has this one. It's got a big block. It's all rebuilt. It hasn't even been run yet. And he's deciding to go LS in this one. So that motor is actually coming out, and that's actually going into the Trans Am, if you guys remember this one. Yeah, that's the brown Trans Am that we had, and I ended up selling it to Chris. So we're gonna work on today, pulling this motor, getting the other one. He's got an LS here out of his daughter's old truck. So we got that here. He's got a cobbed intake and all that stuff for it. So we'll end up getting this out of here and into the car. Hopefully at the end of the day, that'll be at least in, bolted in, and a few things sorted out and know if we have any hurdles. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, this used to be one of my cars. And it used to be my buddy TJ's car. And then I was holding on to it for a project, and then Sean wanted it, and then I was moving stuff out of the way and clearing space for things. So I ended up selling it to him, and he ended up, so far, he's done full quarters on it. They're mostly on, and he's done all the floor pans on it, and he's done a ton of work to it already. So this is just more work we're doing. Well, I know the footage wasn't that good, but the transmission crossmember was just sitting in there with some blocks, so we got that bolted in, and it had the crossmembers designed for the 2-bolt transmission crossmember, the 2-bolt transmission mount, and all we had was the 1-bolt transmission mount. So fitted in, lined it up, drilled the hole where it needed to be, put it all back together, got the mount in, because I wanted to leave the tranny in it while we pull the motor. Reason why I'm giving you this break is to talk about the awesome engine lift. Sean borrowed this off of one of our other buddies, which thanks for letting us borrow it. But there's a new thing with these engine lifts, these cheaper ones, especially these, what are these, Pittsburgh? Yeah, these Pittsburgh ones. I have one, and it goes down to a 1/2 ton. This one goes down to a 1/4 ton. So a 1/4 ton is 500 pounds. The big block Chevy, I think, is somewhere around 600, somewhere around there. So it's slightly overrated anyway. But the downfall on this, it's not worth cheaping out on these things, because if you notice these, if you ever like look at them scale wise, the ram, like the arm is super short. Super short. Like this is sideways into the grill to not avoid that. And the nose on these Camaros ain't incredibly long. And we're still nowhere near the center point of the motor. Like there's the center point of the motor just behind the center of the carburetor. So it's like 8-10 inches too short that way. And the weight rating on it is weak also. So, moral of the story, don't buy the cheap engine lift. Step up one stage. Buy it for one. Buy an old one for cheap and put a newer ram on it. Trust me, they're built way better. And even the earlier fold-up ones, because I have an earlier fold-up one, and the arm reaches way out. Like you can use it on almost anything. And I think all the way out is still half ton, I think, or 1 ton, I forget. But these ones, super weak. Like this is okay. You're gonna do a front wheel drive, Honda Accord, Honda Civic, 4-cylinder, stuff like that, where you don't need the reach and you don't need the weight. But as a muscle car person, classic cars and hot rods and stuff like that, you're pulling V8s with longer noses and stuff like that. Don't waste your money on these cheap ones. At least step up one stage to the heavier one. And if you look at the specs, you'll find that that ram is at the outreach on it is longer on the next stage up, the next price tier up. I think it's like $100 more maybe. So we're not gonna risk using this thing because it's not gonna reach, and we still have to get the other motor in. So like you could fight this one and let it ram forward, probably dent the oil pan and reposition and fight the thing up out of there. We're gonna let the car down, roll it back. We're gonna use one of the lift arms to pull it up. So don't waste your money on these cheapies. Well, a serious sign of times changing is when your buddy's garage that he's done multiple motor swaps in doesn't have enough 3/8 bolts to bolt an engine to the engine stand. We always had tons of 3/8 bolts. You were stacking washers and nuts and everything on the backside. But unfortunately nowadays, he's messing around with a lot of LS stuff. He's got plenty of metric stuff. So I run to the hardware store and we got some proper length bolts and a stack of washers. We'll get this thing on the stand finally. We're interrupting today's regular scheduled shenanigans for stopping by the junkyard. This is after today's thing, but I'm going to throw it in the middle just for a break from the boring LS swap today. But this is over at my favorite place, Everett's Auto Parts in Brockton, Mass. And this is some of the old cars that they have for sale out front. I was hoping to get here earlier in the day. It's just about to get dark. So let's do a walk around and see what's out here today. Just for a reference on what does pop up at the junkyards these days. Because this isn't in the yard where you can take parts off of it. This is across the street. They're all individually for sale. That one is sold. I saw somebody post that one, a picture of that one on the tow truck, and instantly started messaging, and then somebody had already bought it. Like somebody saw that, called here, that knew the people, and bought it instantly. So, but let's take a look at it anyway. It's still here. I think it's been 2 weeks. And it's still here. I'm surprised they haven't picked. If I buy something, I'm picking it up right away. I don't want somebody messing with it. But yeah, so apparently Denny bought it. Congratulations, Denny. But she's pretty decent on this side. She looks like she's a builder. Back that up a little bit. She is a little crusty in all the usual spots. You can see all the heavy blistering under the vinyl roof everywhere. That's usually a nail in the coffin. You can see it creeping out around it and whatnot. But it is a Chevelle. It's not a Malibu. And you can see somebody already mudded this whole upper side, and it's already flaking off. This side's a little more crusty than the other side, but this would be fun to power wash. This thing would be, look at some of the moss on this thing. And again, so we smashed the windshield out of it. But yeah, that's that one. This one came in on the same load, and I guess he bought this one also. This one says sold Denny also. This one's a Buick. Not sure of the year, but I mean, this one looks like it would be a fun build. You know, this one's not incredibly roached out or anything. It's got rockers, it's got the bottom of the doors and all that stuff. Let's see if we can gently open it up. Oh, dang. I haven't even looked inside of it. Dang, the interior is decent. Nice clean dashboard. It's got the tissue dispenser. Those normally swing out for you to get the tissues out of them. But yeah, back seat matching. The seat's actually in really nice shape somehow. Oh, that, I guess I didn't even have to push the button. That's why that was open. This one was here last time. I should measure the wheelbase and look at the floor pans on this one, because I thought it was pretty cheap. And I need a rolling chassis for mine. Yeah, 1500. Not super cheap. And $12.50 for this Lincoln with the rear suicide doors. And they got another one of these Thunderbirds. I don't think this was the one that was here last time. They had that one. And this one, maybe it was here, but I don't know if I looked inside of this one. Let's see if this one opens. I was just peeking in through the window. It's pretty cool. Like, they all have bucket seats and stuff. This one's got a power seat. What do you think about this one, Riley? You like this one? What do you think? Smell funny? Riley's checking it out. But yeah, they always usually pretty good about decent gauges, weird power window switches in the center console, and whatnot. But pretty cool, but pretty rough. I mean, she's real rough. She's probably got a good swap motor in her. Probably got a Ford 9-inch rear end in it. Obviously Ford, right? But yeah, she's all roached out inside there, all twisted up. So there's that. There's this one here. That's the Buick. There's that one. That one was here last time. That's the one I should be grabbing that front axle out of one of these days. This El Camino here. This one doesn't look terrible. I mean, the wheels definitely ain't doing it any justice with those reverse offset, what, S10 wheels or something? But she's semi-buildable. Got a bench seat in it. Stinks. It's got a bunch of floor pan patches in it, but it's all complete under the hood. Got the AC. Got chrome valve covers on it. Must be a race car. It's got the chrome valve covers. Convertible. Sold. What did they get for it? $1,500. Convertible Mustang. And then this one was here last time, and that one was here. I don't know if this one on the end was here. Let's check her out. Buick. I don't remember this one last time. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, this one was here. I didn't realize it's got some different bumpers sitting inside it for something else. Bunch of extra trim, whatnot. But that's that. Riley's had enough. He's over there waiting near the Malibu. Riley, you're okay, buddy. And Riley, come on, bud. But check this guy out. I always loved these things with the battering rams wrapped around them. Some of them had them right up over the front. Just absolutely loved these as a kid. Like, some of them had a big brush bar on the front, the brush fire trucks. But definitely cool to see one this close, this up and close. This I dig it. Little gas-powered pump right on the back. That's cool. Then you got the big old truck here. You got some sort of Pontiac there. I'm not too sure about that one. That one's sold also. But then back here, we got the big boys. I'm gonna be one of those guys, and I'm gonna call these things deuce and a quarters because I have no idea about military stuff. But this hood, this isn't like a normal shaped hood to me. I don't know if this is Oshkosh or something weird. I don't know. I really don't know these things at all. But that one's got a price of $5,000 on it. That one's probably a dump bed. This one's got a price tag of $3,500 on it. And that's like a personnel carrier or something along those lines. But, I mean, pretty cool. You know, I'll have the double rear axles and stuff. Pretty cool. Alright, so that's the walk around today of the antique cars that are for sale at the junkyard. And there's that rusty old Buick. We covered that one before. And we covered that van. We covered that Thunderbird before. And whatnot. We covered the Bronco 2 in that little van. We covered all those before. So nothing new and exciting there. But a couple of different ones. I really wanted to see that Chevelle and the other one that came in with the Buick and whatnot. So it's always worth a stop by when I'm in the neighborhood. Because I'm not in this area much. But that's where Chris and Sean live, right up the street from here. So this was good. Rather come this side. So anyway, let's get back to the 71 Camaro swap. Here's some of the older cars across the street. Can't really see what's over there. That's me stretching up over the fence and just sticking the camera over there for you because I can't see too well to get you a good camera shot. So that's something. All right, we're making progress. The other motor's on the stand. We got the big block, the 44 over here on the stand. We got this guy up in the air. We took the intake off because he's going to run a carbureted intake on it that he has out in the trailer. And I happen to have a engine swap oil pan on it. I mean, at my house for the caddy. So I brought that with me to throw on this, so he didn't have to special overnight one. So we got that on, and yeah. And I'm sure a couple of people are gonna say, like, don't use those cookies on aluminum, these cookies here. But this is one of the least aggressive ones, and the thing is to keep moving, keep it as flat as possible, don't dig in and whatnot. Like, you really don't want to use it on like a head gasket area. Those are a little more critical. Exhaust manifold gaskets, intake gaskets, it's okay. And you're basically just looking to get any residual gasket off, razor blade as much off as you can, and then just use that for any like corrosion around the area, stuff like that, and it works nice. Just go gentle, and it's okay, I assure you. I've been doing it a million years. Not a million, but 30 something anyway. So this is where we're at. So oil pan's on, swap mounts are on this end. This side, we got to put these mounts on in place of those, which those are always fun because the bolts go through and there's just loose nuts on the back side. So we're going to tag team these together, and we did all our measurements off the flywheel, off the bell housing to where the bushing is, to where the mounts are. And then I did the same thing. We put in this adapter, rested a straight edge on here, and then I was able to take my measurement here, and we got a little bit of play, and then I was able to rest the flat edge on the flywheel where the torque converter is going to sit, and then take the measurement of the void here, and that was an 1/8 inch more than we have there, so that's going to allow that torque converter to come out 1/8 of an inch, and that's pretty much kind of the ideal spot in my opinion. I could be wrong. Tell me what you think. And one of the other things, when you're doing these, especially with like these knockoff oil pans and stuff, the pickup tube comes with an O-ring on the end of it. Sometimes it'll come with 3 or 4 different O-rings, all different colors and everything else. Basically what you want to do is you want to make sure you're centering that up on the oil pump where it's going in, and you want to make sure that it takes some decent resistance for that to pop in. And then look in around the edge, make sure it didn't shave off a sliver, because that'll happen if it's too fat or anything. And like maybe a light hit with the palm of your hand, just pop it in. You just don't want it to go in too easy, because if it goes in super easy and that O-ring's too small, then you're going to suck air, because air pulls easier than oil. So always make sure that O-ring is the right thickness, and basically just by friction. Like, you want to know that popped in, and it'll kind of hold it. Like, you go to pull it back out, just one finger strength, and because it's a smooth surface coming out, it'll come out reasonably easy. But you just want to make sure there's some friction there, because if not, you're pulling the motor again to pull that pan to swap that after you're questioning why the motor has no oil pressure. So I see a lot of people talking about that, so just pay attention to that. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get those motor mounts on the frame swapped over, and then we can get this thing dropped in finally. All right, so let's see if we can show you guys a little trick here. We have to either get nuts on the bottom, either the bolts have to go down through and you have to catch nuts on the bottom, or we can pull the bolts up through from the top, bottom, hold them, catch the nuts and washers, and then spin it down from up top, which is usually a lot easier because that's all contained. You're working around the lower control arm mount. It's quite the pain in the butt. So this is something I learned from a trailer hitch setup that I got once. So basically you don't have to get too fussy with it, but I do a little bit of an offset in it like so, and then twist it sideways like so, and then I take a smaller bolt and you know what? I bent it the wrong way. Haha. Bear with me here. Alright, so we'll bend it the opposite direction. And this is just a piece of MIG wire. Probably 25 thousandths, 30 thousandths, something like that. And just spin it up the threads. Sorry, I'm out of camera. Sorry about that. So just kind of spin it up the threads a few times. I probably should have left a little more on this one. But you basically want to make kind of like screw threads out of it. And the reason why you do a smaller bolt, let's see if you can focus on that. It's just around there. This 1/4-20, it's a little tight on the threads, so it'll probably be fine on this 3/8 16. And now just kind of catch it and start threading it in. And if it all works out just right, you might be able to thread that right into the threads. Fighting with a little bit here, hang on. Maybe I should have used a 5/16 bolt instead. But there we go. I definitely should have made more of a jog on the bottom of it too. But this will be just fine. This is a real rough go with this. But now you can see it's caught into a few of the threads. Like so. And now it's hanging off of this. So now I should be able to go up from underneath, slide this wire up through the hole, and pull the thing right up through. Let's see if it works. Sean, you want to have a nut and washer ready?
Yep. Something real quick. I just want to put something on me.
Yeah, totally.
It's like made metal.
Yeah.
Alright.
That smells like progress.
Yep. Washing it up.
There we go. Now fish that up through. Now this is the worst bolt hole that we got to deal with. Now, a lot of the times you can just pin it on the side. So you can find out what Sean's doing. And then just uncoil this guy off a bit. This one's a little on the snug. I think the next one we'll do a 5/16. And then once you get that on there, you can just hold the bracket to the side. Sorry, that was me. Yeah. Yeah, you can just hold the bracket to the side to pin the bolt, catch the washer, catch the nut. There we go. And now you can run the impact from the top. You might be able to just grab it with a wrench. Okay.
A little bit more, maybe. But it's got a slide, so.
Yeah, just a chrome. No, right here. That's too much? Okay, I'll check it right here. Beautiful. So that's that. You got one more bolt and a washer?
Yeah. Want to go down or up with these ones?
We'll come up with all of them.
All right. That is a pretty neat trick.
Yeah, I got a trailer hitch kit, and it came with this type of setup to fish the wires through. And how loose is this?
Pretty loose.
Inside, just so I can see where the hole is.
Yep.
Alright. So I'll pull it down just a little
Yeah,
bit.
I was gonna say go down a little more.
I can't see.
Alright, yeah, go up.
Gently wheel that one in. There we go. Alright, we should be able to let go of it now. Sweet. Alright. So we won't make you watch the whole thing, but that's the gist of it. You can fish them up, catch the nuts, and these have nylon lock nuts on them. If they're regular nuts with lock washes, they work ideal because then you can just impact them down and they'll actually tighten down without even putting a wrench on the bottom. But these nylon lock nuts, I will have to get the socket up there. But it's a lot easier to get a socket up there and catch the head of the bolt than to try and fish the socket up there with a washer around it and get it lined up straight with the end of the bolt while he threads the bolt from up here. Just a lot easier way to do it. Hopefully you like the tip. Well, that took a few minutes, but we're sliding the car in now. That's good for right now, Sean. Yeah, so we got the mounts all in, and I took some finalized measurements. Basically, I measured from this surface to where it touches the bell housing, and then I measured from the bell housing to the back edge. And we were pretty much exactly at the point where these were going to be all the way forward. So we were able to, these have slides on them. So we were able to slide them all the way forward and just sock them down right there where we're not working around the motor. Now we'll see if we're right, but if those holes are drilled right, they all the way forward, they should be in the right orientation twist-wise. Could be totally wrong, might have to get in there, but if I do have to get in there, we're just going to have to crack them free with a ratchet to slide them. And like I said, they were nylon lock nuts, so you don't want to be trying to get up in there with the swivel through the frame with a wrench up there and everything else, trying to tighten them all the way down. So we're taking the gamble that maybe we don't have to fight with it. And we're going to get this thing dropped in. So, see how it goes. Oh, we're working away. I shut the time lapse off for a while. I know it's getting pretty boring. And whatnot, but this is where we stand at the moment. So, the China swap oil pan, plenty of clearance. Turn the wheel all the way, so that's clearing the tie rod ends and everything. The swap motor mounts he got, those fit nicely. And where we had adjusted them all the way forward and tightened them up, absolutely perfect. We didn't have to re-drill, because I had drilled the hole for the training mount. We didn't have to re-drill that. It fit perfect. And we got the torque converter bolted up. And now we're going to work on the bell housing bolts. And the bell housing bolts, bear with me here. Where is it? There it is. Sorry about that. So we were looking around for bell housing bolts, and we found a bunch of these factory ones that have the stud on the back for the wires that we didn't need, and we were hunting through everything else looking for other ones, and I'm like, just cut the studs off. Now we got nice regular bolts. No stud in the way. Because this doesn't need all the fuel lines and evap lines and wire harnesses that are coming down the tranny because it's running a turbo 350. Chop them off. We got simple, regular factory grade bolts. All right, we're calling it for the night. We got some progress done. It wasn't a huge absolute milestone. These LS swaps, they usually pretty cut and dry and smooth and whatnot, but we were using mounts we hadn't used before, and we were test fitting headers from an S10 that he had, because they're a really nice set of 2-inch primary full length headers, and I think we'll be able to get them to fit. It's just going to take some work. We're going to have to cut off the bottom flanges and move them down. And there's one tube for the S10 that comes out and around the steering shaft that won't come around the steering shaft on this. So we got this one here, and the steering shaft comes right about here and up to the steering column. So this is in the way. But this is reasonably flat. We could cut out probably 2 inches out of here and probably cut it down there, or cut out some of that and put in a little bit of an elbow and chip this right in and re-weld it. You'll see the weld here. You really won't see it down there. But if it's going to be a couple of welds, yeah, if it's just a couple of welds and you don't have to spend $700 on a specific set of headers, I'm okay with a couple of welds. I'm sure he is too. Right, Sean? Yeah. So, and the passenger side one, that one fits right in, but you can barely get the bolts in it because it's hitting the floor, so I'd have to modify the flange on that also, which we may go that route. Sean's going to take some time doing some research, see if there's anything reasonably priced that'll fit this thing. And then one of the common things with the LS swaps on a lot of cars is you're typically grabbing cheap truck motors, and the alternator sticks up more than the hood does. And he's got a really nice cowl induction hood that's brand new. You really wouldn't want to be cutting that thing up, the structure out of it, trying to get that to fit. Yeah, so sometimes you can cut the structure out. I seen a guy, he had a 69, I think, 68 Camaro, and it was literally pressing into the skin of the hood, just wearing away at it, and that's what he was running. But he had a whole bracket kit that he had bought for his other car that he didn't end up using, and this one actually moves the location of the alternator probably just perfect. So with this, drop down about where it's going, you can see the alternator's up top there. That bolt and that bolt is for the alternator, so that would drop the alternator down about 3 inches and kick it off the side. And this is supposed to work with all the truck accessories and the truck water pump. So luckily you didn't get rid of that, so we'll be swapping that onto there, and we're making progress. So, and that's exciting. Now the 454 is over there. Chris is just going to go through that, make sure nothing happened to it from it sitting, and that'll eventually go into the maroon Trans Am that we had. So that will make a resurgence into the channel at some point, even if it's just doing burnouts with the new motor or just cruising with that motor. One way or another, you guys will see it again. So anyway, I don't know if this will be the end of this video. I might tie something else on it. If not, thanks again for stopping in, and we'll have more exciting stuff later on as we go. Thanks again.